Okay, this video is a link to a video over at VegSource with Jeff Nelson. And what he's talking about is how the vegan movement has lost its way. Basically, he makes the point that when it got going, you had guys like, Nathan Pritikin, then, Dennis Burkitt, Dr. McDougall, Esselstyn, Ornish, who are working on trying to cure patients of serious disease. The idea was, how can we get better from these terrible diseases? And nowadays, when you go on the internet, there's all these, in my opinion, kind of clowns saying, oh, you need some olive oil. How about some omega-6 cooking oils? Okay, this is nonsense. Caffeine's okay, MSG's okay. It's all nonsense. Guys telling you to eat nuts 3-4 times a day. All nonsense. Okay? Jeff Nelson, he's a lot more sophisticated than I am and polite and likable and all that stuff. But I'm just telling you, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I'm actually going to show you what I really think is going on. I see it as a vegan civil war. Okay? There is the low-fat fanatics, and the low-fat fanatics, they're the ones that cured everybody. The McDougall diet's about 7% of calories from fat. The Walter Kempner diet was 3% of calories from fat. Nathan Pritikin's diet was less than 10% of calories from fat. Caldwell Esselstyn's diet is less than 10% of calories from fat. If you measure the percentage of calories of fat that I eat, it's probably around 4 or 5%. It's really, really low. I tell you this because that's what makes people healthy. That's what, all these Asians, 1 billion out of 1 billion white rice eating Asians, when they ate about 90% of their calories from white rice, it has only 1% of its calories from fat. Lentils, 3% of calories from fat. Potatoes, 1% of calories from fat. Sweet potatoes, 1% of calories from fat. Those diets make people skinny and healthy. And you can look at the Tarahumara. The Tarahumara, they're running 100 miles in 2 days. Yes, they ate a little bit of chia seeds. Their diet was about 13% of calories from fat. But if you run 100 miles in 2 days, you're allowed that, okay? If you're an American, no. And otherwise, if you've been eating the standard American diet, it's not maybe if you have atherosclerosis. You do have atherosclerosis, so you should be eating an atherosclerosis protection diet, which is these less than 10% of calories from fat diets. The lower, the better. Like I said, Nathan Pritikin said all fat is bad. And that, you really want to minimize your dietary fat. And he showed studies of people eating less than 1% of calories from fat doing very well. I tell you this, look, it's your diet. You can eat whatever you want, okay? And I think also, I am carrying the flag, and so is Jeff Nelson, that was left by McDougall, Pritikin, and Kempner. The very low-fat vegan diet. Yeah, call me a low-fat fanatic because I want to be better. I see all these train wrecks every day and I don't want to end up like them. And they all have the same disease. They're all hypertensive. Almost all of them are diabetic or at least pre-diabetic. And they all got a lot of atherosclerosis, coronary arteries. I look at their CT scans, CT angiograms of their head, their brain, their chest. They got atherosclerosis calcifications everywhere. They're a disaster, okay? You don't want to be like that. I see tons, and most of the people I see over 60, they're fat, sick, and stupid, okay? They're cognitively slow. You don't want to end up like that, okay? You can be pleasant. It's nice to be pleasant, but if you want to have the brains and the volition to make any changes or improvements in your life, you got to keep your act together. So anyways, I'll have the link in the description below to the video over at Jeff Nelson. But just to make the point, don't be fooled by all this sophistry, all this nonsense. Dr. McDougall had said that in his opinion, the nut companies had paid off the Adventist researchers to promote nuts, okay? These olive oil researchers, as Jeff Nelson has shown in his videos, many of them are paid off, some as much as $1 million a year to promote olive oil. It's nonsense, okay? There is zero reason to think that a highly processed industrial chemical associated with a large amount of saturated fat, omega-6 fat, and lipid peroxidation is going to be good for arterial blood flow. No way. It's ridiculous.